Hello my friends, this is umonox and Elektron finally did it. We made the first true update for the Tonverk, and with it, not only the grainer, which is in everybody's mouth at the moment, not only that grainer is an amazing new feature that the Tonverk has now, but what I really like is the shaper machine that is now available on all those bass and send tracks, and that one just gives us an amazingly precise and very convenient way of doing our sidechains on the Tonverk right now, and I don't want to keep that from you. So let's have a look at how we can make that work. Should we? Okay, so let's first create a new project so we can start from scratch as usual. Yeah, now just go to the mix page and just quickly turn the input level down so we don't get any kind of additional noise. And now go to that track again and let's find a kick. Something which is actually coming from the Elektron factory library. Yeah, let's take that one. That's already okay. Okay, just assign it. So this is just to have our basic rhythm, so to say. Okay? Totally simple, right? And now, on that second track, I want to load kind of a melodic thing so that we can actually hear that sidechain in action. And so we go to the samples again, and this time let's find something melodic. Should we? Tonal, I think pads, something. Yeah, that sounds great. So let's assign it on that track and place the trigger and make sure that it is on 16 so it plays the whole length of that pattern right now. Let's have a listen how that sounds like. Yeah, make it a bit louder. And now we send that thing to, let's say, bass number 1. So it's on that bass and sounds the same, right? Okay, and here's where that new shaper machine comes in. Now the shaper is actually some kind of a new machine for these bass tracks, which gives them, as well as the send tracks. And that one gives these tracks an envelope, like an amplitude envelope that we can play with. It's on here already because it's already loaded by default on these tracks right now. We can see when we hit function and source, we can see shape is now the default for all of these tracks right here. You can see on those send tracks there's only shape, and on the bass tracks we have shape and MIDI. And shape is always the default now. And the cool thing about this is it's just like an envelope for the volume. And we have the option to dial that in positive or negative. And this is now our parameter to control the sidechain. So let's just get that thing in and let's see how that sounds like. So first, I set the length of the track for that bass track to just 4 steps because we don't need more than that. This is replicating our sidechain pattern perfectly because it constantly repeats anyway. And now the only thing we need to do is we need to place a trigger where we want that thing to come up. Go out here and let's just quickly go in, take the whole time out, give it a little less decay, and now when we play it back and turn up the envelope, we can already hear our sidechain in action. Have a listen. We can make it longer. Amazing. I mean, quicker than that wasn't ever possible before. Yeah, and what we can also hear is something that we often, when we work on the Elektron machines, we often have a problem with those clicky start of the sound when it comes out. So when it comes out of the ducking, you know. And now in that particular case, it has to do with the fact that there is no attack on it, so the attack is on 0. And this is literally exactly how it works when we use the Digitact or something like that and use our LFOs, our square wave LFOs, to replicate the sidechain effect. And on the Digitact and the like, we cannot get rid of that click because it's just on and off, and the click can only be reduced by reducing the amount on the LFO, and it can be reduced a little by reducing the amount here as well. Have a listen. You see it's slightly reduced, but it's still always there. And now comes the point. What if we like what we hear at the moment, but we don't want that click? And now with those envelope right here, thanks to the shaper machine, we can just dial in a little bit of attack, and we are ready to go. Have a listen. See? And it's gone. It's as easy as that, and we have so many ways to design that thing right now, just exactly how we want to, and I want to show you that was actually the easiest way to do that, with the help of that new shaper machine. We can, however, make more out of this, so we have much more control over how we want to make that sidechain work for ourselves, and that's a thing that we want to look at now. So at the moment it's just, you know, the volume comes up and goes down again, so it's just a simple decay. What if we want to keep the volume up very long and then instantly drop it down? Now we can do that with the help of the hold time. And the hold time, you can see, gives us that option. So let's play around with this and you quickly hear what I mean. Let's have a listen. Now it's going overboard, because what happens? The decay is now decaying the sound over those steps right here, so we need to reduce it a lot. And also reduce the decay time. Sounds totally different, right? And to get a little bit of a kind of effect, let's turn in the attack now. That is already a completely different sound compared to before, and we can also influence that hold time just simply by changing the note length. So when we turn it to hold time note, we go onto the trick page, the note length value is now important and is now defining for how long that hold time is lasting. So when we turn that down, if you keep function and pressed while turning it down, we can turn it to even lengths. Let's have a listen how that sounds. We can sync that up a little bit more and do it like that. And again shape it with the decay. Now easy as that, right? So many different ways to achieve a sidechain effect that we want, and we can even go in like, I don't know, what else could we do? We can even work with that attack right here and just start modulating that thing. So let's try that out. Right here we go to the amplitude attack time. And let's see if we can find something interesting that we can do. And from an earlier test I found a setting that I will just want to show you right now, and that was like setting this thing to trick mode hold and like turning this to 2 BPM, and now bring that one up and let's see how that sounds like. Kind of a rhythmic thing going on right here. Doesn't even sound like a sidechain anymore, not really at least. So let's change the speed. Yeah, it's Sky's the limit, you know. Let's also try another waveform, because here we have what I've meant before with those clicks. Because this is a square wave, it's kinda clicky. So let's use another waveform and see how that sounds like. It's working on attack, so it's probably turning it way too much way down to my C. We have that click back due to the LFOs working on that attack, but anyway, you get the point. So there's a lot that we can do now, and that's actually really great. But you know, one thing is important to know in that case. That method also has a drawback when it comes to working with effects like a reverb, because that amplitude envelope right here, the whole thing, the whole envelope itself is working on the output of the bus track itself. So it affects everything that comes out of it and not the stuff that goes into it. So when we bring in an effect, it's automatically influenced by that thing as well. And whereas one example right now with those reverbs, where you can hear that it probably isn't working so well in that particular case. So let's quickly assign the super void reverb here. Do some settings like that. And now have a listen how that sounds when we turn the mix in. See what I mean? The reverb is cut away so heavily now that we are literally unable to hear it. We can change the sound that way somehow, from so to maybe so. We can use it as a sound design tool at the moment, but we cannot actually hear a reverb anymore, so that's a little bit of a drawback, but we can get rid of this. We can get around that quite easily by using a reverb on one of these send tracks. And I want to show you something which is really cool, because that whole sidechain thing is also working on these send tracks now. So let's, for example, go to the track 15 here, and let's add in the Rooms Clang reverb, because that one is really big and is really like, this is reverb forever. Just getting rid of the low end and bring in the highs, some early reflections, and you have it. And now when I go in here and go to that bus track, we can actually do that thing from the bus track, yeah. Let's quickly get rid of that reverb again, and when we take the send up on this one here, have a listen. Now we have reverb again. And it's the same when we would go to that track and do this right here as well. In that case, it's even more prominent, because right here we don't have the sound of that sidechain pattern inside. So just plain reverb and the sidechain pattern is gone. But specifically with the Rooms Clang on that bus, we also lose a bit of that pumpiness when we turn that up. See? At a certain point it's just gone. So why not doing the same here? Well, let's do this. It's the same principle like before. Maybe we can also change the pattern length here. Place the trigger where we need it. And now start dialing that in. Okay, first we need to send it where, so let's go onto that track where the sound is and send it from that track with the sound directly, as it doesn't make so much of a difference right now. Now let's go in here and turn that envelope in. Now we have no reverb anymore, and now we have it back again but with a little bit of a sidechain pattern applied to it, and that one's completely independent from our bus settings. So we can change our bus settings right here, and this won't affect our reverb in any case, in any way, I mean. See? We can, if we would want to do that like that. But yeah, that's really a great way of, you know, getting some really nice and really great sidechain going on for various different parts of our sounds in various different areas of our track, you know. So, okay, my friends, now that was one of the biggest additions for me personally on the Tonverk, on the new Tonverk OS, and I really enjoy that, and I hope that this is of great use for you too. And if so, let me know in the comments, right? And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave it a like. And I would say, I wish you all the best, my friends, and I see you in my next video. Bye!